Picture this. A woman stands in a luxurious honeymoon suite, the turquoise waves of the Maldives lapping outside, her white silk robe catching the golden glow of sunset. She's supposed to be basking in newlywed bliss, but instead, her husband of 7 days hands her divorce papers and laughs. "I only married you because I bet $10,000 with my friends," he says, his voice dripping with mockery as he walks away, thinking he's won. That woman was me, Amber Mitchell, and that moment was the spark that ignited a fire I didn't know I had. Exactly 1 year later, Logan Reynolds, my ex-husband, would fall to his knees when I walked into a room. Not as his discarded bride, but as the woman who turned his cruel bet into her own empire. This is a story of betrayal, resilience, and a comeback so powerful it rewrote the rules of revenge. So grab a coffee, settle in, and let me take you back to where it all began. Before we dive in, I want to thank you for joining me on this journey. Stories like these, about heartbreak, grit, and triumph, connect us all. If this resonates with you, hit that subscribe button. It's free and helps keep this community growing. And don't forget to leave a comment below. What would you have done in my shoes? Let's talk about it. Now, let's step into the glossy world of Blackwood Global Enterprises, where ambition meets deception, and one woman learns the true cost of trust. It was an autumn morning when I first stepped into Blackwood Global Enterprises, my leather portfolio clutched tight, my heart pounding with the kind of nervous excitement you only feel on the first day of a dream job. The marble lobby gleamed under crystal chandeliers, and the security guard's warm smile barely eased my jitters as he handed me my badge. Amber Mitchell, financial analyst, 47th floor. I'd graduated top of my class, survived cutthroat internships, and now I was here, at one of the most prestigious firms in the country. I thought I was stepping into my future. I didn't know I was walking into a trap. The elevator doors opened, and there he was, Logan Reynolds, Senior VP of Strategic Planning. His navy suit was crisp, his smile confident, and when he extended his hand, my breath caught. "Amber Mitchell," he said, his voice smooth as polished wood. "Cameron asked me to show you around." Cameron Blake, the CFO, was a legend in the financial world, known for his brilliant strategies and unshakable ethics. I'd studied him in business school, but nothing prepared me for the reality of Blackwood's executive floor, where power hummed in the air like electricity. Those first weeks were a whirlwind of spreadsheets, meetings, and late nights. Logan was my guide, stopping by my desk with coffee and advice when my eyes burned from staring at numbers. "You've got potential, Amber," he'd say, his voice low, almost intimate. "Not everyone picks up our systems this fast." I thought he saw something in me, my drive, my ideas. I didn't see the way his friends smirked behind their coffee cups or the way Cameron's gaze lingered, sharp and unreadable, whenever Logan lingered too long at my desk. Our office romance bloomed quietly at first, stolen glances across conference tables, fingers brushing over shared documents, lunch breaks that stretched just a little too long. The office buzzed with whispers about the rising star VP and the new analyst. Logan painted a picture of a shared future, talking about partnership, success, and a life built together. When he proposed 6 months later in front of the entire executive team, I was too blinded by tears of joy to notice Cameron standing silently in the corner, his face unreadable. The engagement changed everything. Doors opened, invitations to elite events, bigger projects, more attention. I thought it was Logan's influence, his belief in me. I didn't know it was all part of a game, a 10,000 bet that he could get me to marry him within a year. His friends watched our romance like spectators at a horse race, placing their wagers, laughing behind their hands, and I, the naive analyst, was the prize they never expected to claim. Our wedding was a spectacle, planned to the last detail by Logan himself. The Grand Plaza Hotel's ballroom sparkled with crystal chandeliers and white orchids, the string quartet playing softly as Blackwood's elite raised their glasses. I stood in the bridal suite, smoothing my hands over a gown that cost more than my first year's salary, feeling like I'd stepped into a fairy tale. I was no longer just Amber Mitchell, the analyst. I was Logan Reynolds' fiancée, about to marry into Blackwood's inner circle. A knock at the door interrupted my thoughts. Cameron Blake stood there, his usual commanding presence softened by something I couldn't place. "A wedding gift," he said, handing me a small blue box. Inside was a silver key to a private office on the executive floor. "You've earned this through your own merit," he said, his voice steady but heavy with meaning, "regardless of today's celebrations." I didn't understand then why his tone made my stomach twist, why his eyes seemed to carry a warning. I tucked the key into my clutch, distracted by the whirlwind of champagne and bridesmaids. The ceremony was a blur of vows and applause. Logan's words rang with sincerity. "You're not just my partner in life, but my greatest investment." The crowd sighed, charmed, missing the calculated gleam in his eyes. At the reception, I noticed Cameron in a tense conversation with Logan's friends, their usual laughter replaced by serious glances. Logan's best man gave a speech laced with inside jokes about strategic partnerships, each word a hidden jab I wouldn't understand until later. As we left for the Maldives on Blackwood's private jet, I curled against Logan's shoulder, blissfully unaware that his urgent business calls were the final moves in a game I didn't know I was playing. The wedding ring on my finger felt heavy, its diamonds catching the cabin's dim light. In 7 days, it would become a symbol not of love, but of the most expensive lesson I'd ever learn. The Maldives resort was paradise. Crystalline waters, white beaches, and our private villa perched over a tranquil lagoon. Cameron Blake owned the property, a fact I found curious but dismissed as Logan's way of showing off. The staff greeted us with fresh coconuts and warm smiles, but Logan was distracted, his phone buzzing constantly with messages he brushed off as work. I didn't question it. I was too caught up in the dream. That evening, as I stood on our private deck watching the sunset paint the sky in fiery hues, Logan emerged from another call, his expression cold. "Amber, we need to talk," he said, holding a manila envelope. My smile faded as he tossed it onto the table. "You're smart, Amber. It's one of the things that made you perfect for this. Perfect for the bet, I mean." The word bet hung in the air, heavy and sharp. He laughed, the sound cutting through the paradise like a blade. $10,000! That's what they wagered I couldn't get you to marry me within a year. The divorce papers were already signed, dated weeks before our wedding. "You were the perfect target," he said, loosening his tie. "Brilliant enough to be impressive, naive enough to be believable. The board loved watching our little romance unfold." My hands trembled as I opened the envelope, the legal documents staring back like a slap. Every kiss, every promise, every moment had been a performance for a betting pool of wealthy executives. "Why tell me here?" I whispered, my voice steady despite the storm inside. "Dramatic flair?" he shrugged. "Plus, it's harder for you to cause a scene in paradise. Corporate image to maintain, you understand." He walked away, his suitcase rolling behind him, leaving me with the divorce papers and a parting gift, the villa for the week. "The staff already knows our marriage was just for show," he called over his shoulder. "See you at the office, Amber. Do try to keep things professional." I stood there long after the sun set, the papers clutched in my hands. The stars emerging over a honeymoon suite turned battlefield. The humiliation burned, but beneath it, something else stirred. A clarity, a resolve. They expected me to crumble, to resign, to disappear. Instead, I picked up my phone and typed a message to Cameron Blake. "The key you gave me. Is that office still available?" His reply was instant. Always was. 1 week later, I stepped off the elevator onto Blackwood's 47th floor, not as Logan's discarded bride, but as Amber Mitchell, senior financial strategist. The brass nameplate on my new office door gleamed, a gift from Cameron who'd processed my promotion during my absence. I wore a designer suit, bought with the honeymoon fund Logan had left behind, and carried a confidence I hadn't known I possessed. The office buzzed with whispers as I walked to my desk. Logan's friends huddled by the water cooler, their smirks fading when they saw me. In the morning meeting, I presented my analysis for the Asian market expansion, commanding the room with facts and strategies that left even the board members nodding. Logan shifted uncomfortably, his usual swagger dimmed as my proposals outshone his. "Impressive work," a board member said. "Hard to believe you found time for this during your abbreviated honeymoon." I smiled smoothly. Focus is an excellent coping mechanism, though not as effective as competence. Cameron became my mentor, his guidance sharp and professional, never tinged with pity. Over lunch in the executive lounge, he admitted, "They expected you to resign. Your resilience has them worried." I reviewed acquisition reports, my voice steady. "They should be. I didn't earn my MBA to let a childish bet derail my career." Weeks turned into months, each day a brick in the foundation of my recovery. Logan's attempts to undermine me fell flat against my data-driven rebuttals. My team revolutionized Blackwood's approach to international markets, earning industry praise. The Morrison account, Logan's former pride, now reported to me. The board noticed, and so did our competitors, with headhunters circling like sharks. I declined their offers. My victory would be here, where Logan expected me to fail. 3 months after the Maldives, I led the quarterly board meeting, presenting a restructuring plan that streamlined Logan's department into mine. His position, once untouchable, was absorbed into my division. The board chairman praised my work, offering me the head of the new International Development Committee, a role Logan had coveted. Cameron's subtle smile spoke volumes as Logan's face paled. At the annual leadership retreat, I commanded attention with innovative presentations, while Logan's influence dwindled. Over dinner with Cameron, our professional bond deepened into something real, built on mutual respect. "I recognized something in you from the beginning," he said one night, his voice soft. "A resilience that couldn't be bought or broken." When he kissed me, it wasn't a performance. It was an investment in something genuine. A year to the day after Logan's betrayal, I stood at the podium of Blackwood's Grand Conference Center, announcing our most profitable year ever. "As part of our reorganization," I said, glancing at Logan's ashen face, "we'll be streamlining several departments." His role was effectively demoted, his $10,000 win a bitter footnote to my rise. Cameron stepped forward, announcing my promotion to CEO as he transitioned to executive chairman. The applause was deafening, drowning out Logan's silence. Logan cleared out his corner office that day, his former allies now seeking my favor. He congratulated me, his voice hollow. "Consider it a reminder," I said, "that some investments yield unexpected returns." My new office, the CEO's suite, offered a panoramic view of the city I'd conquered. That night, Cameron and I toasted in our penthouse, not to revenge, but to a future we'd built together. 5 years later, I stood before Harvard Business School's graduating class, my story a case study in their curriculum. The Blake Method, turning setbacks into success. Logan's name appeared in the footnotes, a cautionary tale of arrogance and lost potential. Blackwood had tripled in size under my leadership, with the Morrison Group just one piece of our global empire. Logan now managed a small regional office, his glory days a distant memory. At the annual corporate awards ceremony, I accepted the Lifetime Achievement Award at 40 with Cameron by my side. Logan sat in the back, watching as the business world celebrated the woman he'd bet against. "Success isn't about winning a single bet," I told the crowd. "It's about recognizing your true worth and refusing to let others define your value." Back at our penthouse, Cameron and I celebrated in the garden where we'd exchanged vows 4 years earlier. "Did you ever thank Logan for that bet?" he teased. I laughed, raising my glass. "Without his cruelty, I might not have found you. Or myself." The city sparkled below, a testament to a life rebuilt not on revenge, but on resilience, love, and the unshakable belief that some women are meant to thrive. If this story of betrayal turned triumph struck a chord, I want to hear from you. Have you ever turned a heartbreak into a victory? Share your story in the comments below. Your voice could inspire someone else to keep going. And don't forget to like and subscribe to stay part of this incredible community. We're here to celebrate the strength it takes to rise above, so let's keep the conversation going. What's your comeback story? Before we close, let's make this a two-way street. If Amber's journey from a honeymoon betrayal to corporate powerhouse moved you, Drop a comment with your thoughts or share a moment when you turned a setback into a win. Your stories fuel this channel, and I read every single one. Hit that subscribe button to join us for more tales of resilience and redemption. It's free, and it keeps us connected. Let's keep building this community together.